Thalassemia. The word thalassemia is a Greek term derived from thalassa, which means the sea, and emia, which means related to blood. The sea related to blood. The term thalassemia basically refers to a group of blood diseases characterized by decreased or absent synthesis of normal globin chains. According to the chain whose synthesis is impaired, the thalassemia are called alpha, beta, gamma, delta beta thalassemias. From a clinical point of view, the most relevant types are alpha and beta thalassemias. Oxygen is transported from the lungs to the tissue by a highly specialized protein molecule called hemoglobin, which is located in the red cells of the blood. Each red blood cell contains approximately 300 million molecules, totaling about 30 picograms in weight per cell. The diagram shows the structure of adult hemoglobin, that is hemoglobin A, found by two pairs of identical subunits. That is the globin chains, alpha 1, alpha 2, beta 1, beta 2. The globin chains appear sequentially during the process of development. After pairing, form the following four major types of hemoglobin. Number 1, embryonic hemoglobins, that is hemoglobin Gower 1, Gower 2, hemoglobin Portland 1 and Portland 2, are detectable from 3rd week to 10th week of gestation. And second type of hemoglobin is hemoglobin F, that is fetal hemoglobin, which constitutes predominant oxygen carrier during pregnancy, and alpha 2, gamma 2 are the globin chains. And third type is adult hemoglobin, that is hemoglobin A1, which replaces hemoglobin F shortly after birth, and a minor adult component, that is hemoglobin A2, which has alpha 2 and delta 2 globin chains. The process of different hemoglobin species being produced and stop at certain period of development is known as hemoglobin switching. Under the normal conditions, the red cells of the adult human contain approximately 97 to 98% of hemoglobin A, 2 to 3% of hemoglobin A2, and traces of hemoglobin F. The diagram shows the sites of erythropoiesis and different types of globin proteins that appear from the time of early gestation to the adult life. The gene for alpha globin protein is located on chromosome 16, and the gene for beta globin protein is located on chromosome 11. In adult life, most of the globin synthesis occurs in the erythroblast in the bone marrow. Globin chains must have the correct structure and be trimmed in such a way that the number of alpha chains precisely matches that of the beta chains. There are more than 200 different mutations resulting in absent or decreased globin production. 3% of the world population carries alleles for beta thalassemia, and in Southeast Asia 5 to 10% of the population carry alleles for alpha thalassemia. Beta thalassemia. Based on the severity of presentation, beta thalassemia is classified into three forms. Number 1 is thalassemia major, also referred to as Cooley's anemia or Mediterranean anemia. Number 2 is thalassemia intermedia, less severe form, and number 3 is thalassemia minor, also called as beta thalassemia carrier, beta thalassemia trait, or heterozygous beta thalassemia. The degree of globin chain imbalance is determined by the nature of mutation of the beta gene. Beta 0 refers to the complete absence of production of beta globin on the affected allele. Beta plus refers to allele with some residual production of beta globin around 10%, and beta plus plus, the reduction in beta globin production is very mild. Coming to the pathophysiology of beta thalassemia, the basic defect in beta thalassemia is a reduced or absent production of beta globin chains with relative excess of alpha chains. As direct consequence, a net decrease of hemoglobin production leading to a reduction of mean cell hemoglobin and mean cell volume and has minor clinical significance. An imbalance of the globin chain synthesis has dramatic effect on red cell precursors, ultimately resulting in their extensive premature destruction in bone marrow and in the extramedullary sites. This process is referred to as ineffective erythropoiesis and is a hallmark of beta thalassemia. The first response to ineffective erythropoiesis and anemia is an increased production of erythropoietin, causing a marked erythroid hyperplasia, which in turn may produce skeletal deformities, osteoporosis, occasionally extramedullary mosses, and contributes to splenomegaly. Untreated or undertreated thalassemia major patients have retarded growth as a result of anemia and the excessive metabolic burden imposed by erythroid expansion. Anemia may produce cardiac enlargement and sometimes severe cardiac failure. Ineffective erythropoiesis is also associated with increased iron absorption, which occurs mainly from increased intestinal absorption of iron caused by deficiency of hepcidin that plays a central role in the regulation of iron homeostasis. This flow diagram explains the pathophysiology of beta thalassemia. Absence of beta globin chains or reduced levels of beta globin chains causes excess free alpha globin chains. On one side, this alpha globin chain precipitates in erythroid precursors within the bone marrow, causes premature death and leads to ineffective erythropoiesis. On the other side, this alpha globin chains causes membrane damage to peripheral erythrocytes, leads to hemolysis, and hemolysis and ineffective erythropoiesis both leads to anemia. As a result of anemia, there will be increased erythropoietin production and iron absorption, causing skeletal changes and cardiac death. Coming to clinical features of beta thalassemia. Beta thalassemia major patient usually presents between 6 to 24 months with severe microcytic anemia, mild jaundice, and hepatosplenomegaly. Affected infants fail to thrive and become progressively pale. Feeding problems, irritability, recurrent bouts of fever due to hypermetabolic state or intercurrent infection, and progressive enlargement of the abdomen caused by spleen and liver enlargement may occur. Any untreated or poorly transfused patients usually show signs of growth retardation, pallor, jaundice, poor musculature, genu varum, hepatosplenomegaly, leg ulcers, development of masses from extramedullary hematopoiesis, and skeletal changes resulting from expansion of the bone marrow. Skeletal changes include deformities in the long bones and changes in the craniofacial bones. It is called as thalassemic phases as shown in the figure. There is bulging of skull, molar prominence, depression of nasal bridge, hypertrophy of the maxilla. And these craniofacial changes in thalassemia patients can be clearly seen through X-ray film and is typically called as hair on end appearance. If a chronic transfusion regimen is not started, a patient with thalassemia major usually die within the first few years of life. Beta thalassemia intermediate should be suspected in individuals who present at a later age with similar but milder clinical findings. At the severe end of the clinical spectrum, patients present between the ages of 2 to 6 years, and although they are capable of surviving without regular blood transfusion, growth and development are retarded. At the other end of the spectrum, a patient who is completely asymptomatic until adult life with only mild anemia. Hypertrophy of erythroid marrow with possible extramedullary hematopoiesis is common. Individuals with beta thalassemia intermedia are also at risk of iron overload secondary to increased intestinal iron absorption. Heterozygous carriers of beta thalassemia on hematological evaluation usually display a low MCH, low MCV, and an increased level of hemoglobin A2, which may be associated with low normal or slightly subnormal hemoglobin levels. Beta thalassemia major is characterized by hemoglobin level less than 7 gram per dl, MCV between more than 50 to 70, MCH more than 12 to 20. And in thalassemia intermedia, hemoglobin level between 7 to 10, MCV 50 to 80, and MCH 16 to 24 picograms. And all affected individuals show microcytosis, hypochromia, anisocytosis, poikilocytosis, target cells, and erythroblasts. The diagram showing peripheral smear of thalassemia patient, where you can see hypochromatic cells, target cells, and nucleated RBCs. Electrophoresis and chromatography identify the amount and type of hemoglobin present. In beta 0 thalassemia homozygotes, hemoglobin A is absent. Hemoglobin F constitutes the 90 to 95% of the total hemoglobin. And in beta plus thalassemia homozygotes, hemoglobin A levels are between 10 to 30% and hemoglobin F levels between 70 to 90%. Hemoglobin A2 is variable in beta thalassemia homozygotes and it is enhanced in beta thalassemia minor. Hemoglobin F can readily be detected by acid dilution test and alkali denaturation. And this HPLC report of thalassemia major patient, where you can see the hemoglobin F concentration is 95% and hemoglobin A2 concentration is 3.9% and complete absence of hemoglobin A. Molecular analysis of beta thalassemia mutations. Commonly occurring mutations of the beta globin gene are detected by PCR based procedures. The most commonly used methods are reverse dot blot analysis or prime specific amplification with a set of probes or primers complementary to the most common mutations in the population from which the affected individual originated. If targeted mutation analysis fails to detect the mutation, beta globin gene sequence analysis can be used to detect mutations in the beta globin gene. Beta structural hemoglobin variants relevant to thalassemia management. Remember three hemoglobins. Number one is hemoglobin E, where glutamic acid at 26th position of the globin chain is replaced by or substituted by lysine. And number two is hemoglobin lipo, which results from a fusion of the delta and beta globin genes. And third one is hemoglobin S, where at 6th position of the beta globin chain, glutamic acid is substituted with valine. Coming to alpha thalassemias. Alpha thalassemias are inherited disorders characterized by reduced or suppressed production of alpha globin chains. The human alpha globin genes are duplicated and located in the telomeric end of the short arm of chromosome 16. Alpha thalassemia is caused most commonly by deletion of large fragment of DNA that involve one or both alpha globin genes. The inheritance of alpha thalassemia is very complex. Each person inherits two alpha globin alleles from each parent. Deletion of one alpha globin gene is not identifiable hematologically. Specifically, no alterations are noted in MCV or MCH. Persons with these deletions are usually diagnosed after the birth of child with two gene deletions or hemoglobin H, and this is common in African Americans, and during the newborn period less than 3% hemoglobin birth is observed. Alpha thalassemia trait is children with a deletion of 2 alpha globin genes and manifest as a microcytic anemia that can be mistaken for iron deficiency anemia, given the presence of both low MCV and MCH. Hemoglobin analysis is usually normal except during the newborn period when hemoglobin birth is typically less than 8% but more than 3%. If both parents of a child diagnosed with alpha thalassemia trait are carriers in the cis conformation, they are at risk for future hydrops fetalis pregnancy. Deletion of 3 alpha globin genes causes hemoglobin S disease. A more severe form of hemoglobin S disease may be caused by a non-deletional alpha globin mutation in combination with 2 gene deletions. Hemoglobin H constant spring is the most common type of non-deletional hemoglobin S disease. Patients with hemoglobin H disease have a marked microcytosis, anemia, mild splenomegaly, and occasionally icterus or cholelithiasis. The simplest manner of diagnosing hemoglobin S disease is during the newborn period when the excess of gamma tetramers are present and hemoglobin birth is usually more than 25%. Individuals with non-deletional hemoglobin S disease are more likely to require transfusion than the individual with deletional hemoglobin S disease. Hemoglobin births hydrus fetalis is the most severe clinical manifestation of alpha thalassemia. It is generally associated with the absence of all 4 alpha globin genes, severe fetal anemia, and death in utero. There are no normal hemoglobins present at birth. In addition, several metal complications including preeclampsia, antepartum hemorrhage, dystocia are common in pregnant women with hemoglobin births hydrops. The complete loss of alpha globin production from fetal stage results in a tetramer formation of unpaired gamma globin chains and presents as hemoglobin births by hemoglobin analysis. Intrauterine transfusions may rescue the fetus, but congenital abnormalities and neurodevelopmental delay often result. The infant with severe alpha thalassemia will have lifelong transfusion dependence, and hematopoietic stem cell transplantation is the only cure. The pathophysiology of alpha thalassemias. The reduction of alpha globin synthesis results in a decreased production of hemoglobin A and reduced hemoglobinization. In addition, excess of unpaired beta globin chains can form tetramers that do not physically stable and precipitate to the red cell membrane surface, causing oxidative damage and shortening of red cell survival. The formation of beta globin tetramers can be detected by hemoglobin analysis and identified as hemoglobin H. In non-deletional alpha thalassemia, a particular mutation that generate beta globin variants such as hemoglobin CS, this variant can directly precipitate at the membrane surface and generate reactive oxygen species even at the steady state. Hematologic diagnosis of alpha thalassemia. Similar to beta thalassemia syndromes, patients with hemoglobin S disease have hypochromic microcytic anemia with a baseline of hemoglobin of 4 to 13 gram per dl. Increased polychromasia and reticulocytosis are observed and can further be augmented during acute infectious episodes or hemolytic crisis. Nucleated and basophilic stippling positive red cells are commonly present in a more severe phenotype such as hemoglobin births hydrops and severe non-deletional S disease. Detection of hemoglobin H and as a hemoglobin H inclusion body in peripheral smear using a supravital staining is the hallmark of this condition. Electrophoresis analysis representing hemoglobin H beta 4 and hemoglobin births gamma 4 is a characteristic of alpha thalassemia syndrome. The level of hemoglobin H measured can be varied from less than 1% to up to 40%. Due to lack of available alpha globin chains, hemoglobin A2 is reduced. In patients with non-deletional hemoglobin H disease, especially hemoglobin H, hemoglobin CS, Hemoglobin CS variant can be detected with a very low amount. In this HPLC report of alpha thalassemia patient, hemoglobin parts fraction is increased. Management and treatment of thalassemia. Based on their clinical severity and transfusion requirements, these thalassemia syndromes can be classified phenotypically into two main groups. Number one is transfusion dependent thalassemias. Number two is non-transfusion dependent thalassemia. Transfusion dependent thalassemias include beta thalassemia major, severe hemoglobin E beta thalassemia, transfusion dependent hemoglobin H disease or hemoglobin H hydrops, and surviving hemoglobin BOTS hydrops. And non-transfusion dependent thalassemias include beta thalassemia intermedia, hemoglobin E beta thalassemia, and hemoglobin H disease. The major goals of transfusion therapy are use of donor erythrocytes with an optimal recovery and half-life in the recipient, achievement of appropriate hemoglobin level, and avoidance of adverse reactions including transmission of infectious agents. Any patient who is confirmed of thalassemia with hemoglobin less than 7 gram per dl on 2 occasions, patients with facial changes, poor growth, fractures, and clinically significant extramedullary hematopoiesis, irrespective of the hemoglobin level, should be immediately started transfusions. Summary of the blood transfusion guidelines. Donors are selected carefully and screened appropriately. Before first transfusion, an extended red cell antigen typing should be performed. Each time, ABO and RH compatible blood should be transfused, and also matching for C, E, and KEL antigen is highly recommended. A leukoreduced PR basis should be used. Pre-storage filtration is highly recommended. Washed RBCs are used in patients who have severe allergic reactions, and RBCs stored in CPDA should be transfused within 1 week of collection, and RBCs stored in additive solutions should be transfused within 2 weeks of collection. Transfuse every 2 to 5 weeks, maintaining pre-transfusion hemoglobin above 9 to 10.5 gram per dl or higher, that is 11 to 12 gram per dl for patients with cardiac complication. And a record should be kept regarding red cell antibodies, transfusion reactions, and annual transfusion requirements for each patient. And the post-transfusion hemoglobin should be kept below 14 to 15 gram per dl. Adverse reactions of blood transfusion are non-hemolytic febrile transfusion reactions, allergic reactions, acute hemolytic reactions, alloimmunization, delayed transfusion reactions, autoimmune hemolytic anemia, transfusion related acute lung injury, transfusion induced graft versus host disease, and iron overload. Iron overload occurs when iron intake is increased over a sustained period of time, either as a result of transfusions or increased absorption of iron through GI tract. When thalassemia major patients receive regular blood transfusion, iron overload is inevitable because the human body lacks a mechanism to excrete excess iron. Iron accumulation is toxic to many tissues, causing heart failure, cirrhosis, liver cancer, growth retardation, and multiple endocrine abnormalities. Mechanism of iron toxicity. Iron is highly reactive, which results in generation of harmful free radicals, and these radicals can damage lipid membranes, cell organelles, and DNA, causing cell death and generation of fibrosis. Iron overload can be estimated by measuring serum ferritin, liver iron concentration, myocardial iron estimation by MRI T2 star, 24-hour urinary iron estimation, plasma non-transferring bound iron and labile plasma iron measurements. Treatment of iron overload. 3 iron chelators are currently licensed for clinical use. Number 1 is desferrioxamine, 2 is deferoxerox, number 3 is deferiprone. And again they should be monitored for adverse reactions. Thalassemia is also treated by using DNA methylation inhibitors like 5-azacitidine and decitabine, hydroxyurea, short-chain fatty acids, erythropoietin stimulating agents, gene therapy and stem cell transplantations. Hematopoietic stem cell transplantation is the only known curative treatment for thalassemia. The poor outcome indicators are hepatomegaly, portal fibrosis, and inadequate chelation prior to transplant. Many patients with thalassemia require splenectomy. The main therapeutic rationale for splenectomy in transfusion dependent patient with beta thalassemia major is to decrease blood consumption and a transfusion requirement with the ultimate goal of reducing iron overload. The indications for splenectomy are increased blood requirement that prevents adequate control with iron chelation therapy, hypersplenism, and symptomatic splenomegaly. Preventive monitoring of thalassemia patients. All thalassemia patients should be monitored for cardiovascular complications, liver diseases, endocrine abnormalities, nutritional deficiencies, and infections. The cardiovascular complications can be considered in 2 major clinical categories. Number 1, iron overload complications like reversible myocyte failure, arrhythmias, loss of vascular compliance. Number 2, non-iron overload complications like pulmonary hypertension, arrhythmias, thrombotic stroke, cardiac function changes due to restriction, diastolic dysfunction, and fibrosis. Cardiac disease is the major cause of death in thalassemia. Serial echocardiograms should be monitored to evaluate cardiac function and pulmonary artery pressure. Pulmonary hypertension frequently occurs in non-transfusion dependent thalassemia patient and may be an indication for transfusion therapy. After approximately 8 years of chronic transfusion therapy, cardiac hemosiderosis may occur. Consequently, cardiac T2 star MRI imaging studies are recommended. Patients with cardiac hemosiderosis and decreasing cardiac ejection fraction must be encouraged regular chelation therapy and maintenance of T2 star more than 20 milliseconds. Periodic echocardiogram studies also are obtained after age 10 years because of the risk of arrhythmia from cardiac iron overload. Endocrine function progressively declines with age secondary to hemosiderosis and nutritional deficiencies. Iron deposition in the pituitary and endocrine organs can result in multiple endocrinopathies, including hypothyroidism, growth hormone deficiency, delayed puberty, hypoparathyroidism, diabetes mellitus, osteoporosis, and adrenal insufficiency. Monitoring for endocrine dysfunction starts early, about 5 years of age, or after at least 3 years of chronic transfusion. All children require monitoring of their height, weight, pubertal assessment, and sitting height semi-annually. Bone density scans should be obtained starting in the second decade of life, given the high rate of osteopenia. Nutrition risk assessment are required regularly. Most patients need vitamin and mineral replacements. Fertility is a growing concern among patients and should be assessed routinely. Coming to liver diseases, iron overload is the main causative factor. Hepatitis viruses, especially hepatitis C and hepatitis B remain an important concern. The potentially aggravating role of hepatotoxic cofactors such as dysmetabolism and alcohol should also be kept in mind. The main risk of chronic liver disease is the development of cirrhosis with its risk of hepatocellular carcinoma, complications which are becoming more frequent due to overall improvements in thalassemia outcomes. Hepatic iron excess should be evaluated using a non-invasive strategy based on combined serum ferritin values and MRI data. Deferrasirox is effective in producing a negative iron balance and decreasing hepatic damage. Diagnosis and treatment of HCV and HBV hepatitis remain important. The causes of infections in thalassemia patients are classified into therapy-related factors and disease-related factors. The therapy-related factors are allogenic blood transfusions, splenectomy, iron chelation therapy, central venous catheters, stem cell transplantation. And the disease-related factors are ineffective erythropoiesis, hemolysis, and anemia. The infection preventive measures in thalassemia patients include pre-storage leukodepletion of RBC units, reduces the transmission of cytomegalovirus, and may also be effective in reducing the risk of a number of additional transfusion transmitted infections including herpes virus, retrovirus, bacteria like Yersinia enterocolitica, protozoas like Leishmania species, and Trypanosoma cruzi, and infectious prions. It should also be noted that leukodepletion does not provide 100% risk prevention from these infections, but it may provide an additional and justified measure of caution. Thalassemia imposes major disruption in the family. Therefore, culturally sensitive anticipatory counseling is necessary, and the early use of child life service decreases psychological trauma of therapy. Early social service consultation to address financial and social issue is mandatory. Thalassemia imposes major disruption in the family and a significant obstacle to normal development. The culturally sensitive anticipatory counseling is necessary, and the early use of child life services decreases psychological trauma of therapy. Early social service consultation to decrease financial and social issue is mandatory. And thanks to everyone.